Hey everybody, happy Tuesday and welcome to the Rig on Wheels show featuring MVT. This is your first ever and only truck driver recruitment show, and I am your host, Kameel Gaines, the CEO and founder of Rig on Wheels. And joining me, of course, is our favorite VP of recruitment, Robert Pierson over there at MVT, Mesilla Valley. And look at him there. And look at his beautiful shirt he has on, okay, with a wonderful logo. And we are your ultimate destination for your trucking industry news, insights, hot jobs, driver tips, recruiter tips. So let's definitely make history together. Look at you in El Paso again. You going to make this a regular habit? To be
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to have my Rig on Wheels shirt. Can be purchased at all fine retailers. If they don't have a Rig on Wheels shirt, they're not a fine retailer.
That part, I agree with that. We're gonna have to make that happen. I think we're gonna have to get some shirts on the road store. That is for
I
sure.
believe it's going to cause a fight for me at JCPenney's in the near future.
Absolutely. You know what? We got to jump into this news because there's a lot of stuff going on. Look, you all, I have my highlighter. I really went old school. I got my highlighter. I got my readers. So that means we got some good news because I really want to make sure I got it accurate here. So what you want to throw out there first, Pierson?
Well, let's go good news first. Why don't we talk about fuel? Fuel bumps up to 2.4 cents. That is good news, though, because it was expected to go up a little bit higher than that. And it's not across the board. There's certain parts that it actually went down. It went down in the Rocky Mountains and the West Coast. It went down even West Coast when you take California out of it. It also went down in the Central Atlantic. So it's somewhat mixed bag there. But anytime you go into the busier part of the year where more people hit the road and it doesn't go up 10, 20 cents in one swoop, it lets people adjust. It would be the key thing here, though, is to make sure that you're watching your fuel economy because as fuel surcharge is a lagging indicator, you're going to see that you end up not getting as much out of the fuel surcharge for about a week. So watch your speeds.
Yeah, and I wanted to piggyback on what Pierson just said about the fuel economy, whether you are owner-op or company driver. If you are fleet managers and things like that, you definitely want to train your company drivers. If you are a company driver, you want to get trained with that because, for an example, if you are an MVT, that is tacked onto your bonuses and your different pay structure. So, and then your route optimization. So, dealing with your dispatchers, you want to be dealing with that because depending on how you go, what terrain or road that you're taking has a lot to do with that. And with fuel being as it is and freight still being kind of sluggish in certain areas, you want to make sure that we are optimizing because in trucking, our margin is very, very small. So we want to make sure. And then since we did discuss that part, now, but we are still less than 15.7 cents than last year, so almost 16 cents. So that's even better. So
we as an industry, we could use it.
Yeah, that is good. So I know it did inch up a bit, but like you said, they did. The economists thought it was going to do more than that. So that's good because it had been holding steady for about a month now. So that's pretty good.
With that said, we're also seeing some livelihood in the freight market. It's still not where it was before. February stunk. One of the things that we talked a little bit about beforehand here is truck tonnage recorded its 12th consecutive year-over-year decline in February, while managing a respectable month-to-month gain in mixed results for an industry seeking signs of an eventual emergence from its widespread freight recession. So it is up from January. February was not good. It wasn't what February was the previous 12 months of February, but it was better than January and early through March. Right now, we're also seeing signs that freight's improving at least in the terms of volume. The rates aren't there to match it just yet, depending on which niche of the industry that you're in. But which came first, the chicken or the egg? In this case, it's the egg. We see higher freight volumes. So that ultimately will bring up the rate just with supply and demand. So February was down versus last year, but up versus January. We're seeing some positive movement there. It gets me very optimistic that as we start seeing places like Lowe's, Home Depot, garden centers, Maynards, as we start seeing them get robust starting in the southern U.S. and moving their way northward, the next several months at least are improving. And as I've said, the clearinghouse, along with COVID, wiped out a large percentage of drivers from our industry. So for those of you that are sticking around in the industry, you get to reap the benefits of that. I'm not saying that the freight recession's over, but there's signs of life.
And I'm a put proof in a pudding person, or however the saying goes, just like what Pierson was saying when he said the low. So the first thing, or Home Depot, what you think of is flatbed. I know that MVT is not a flatbed company, so let me say that. But exactly what he was saying, because the rates for flatbed is holding steady, so it's not declining. However, the reefer is going up. So when you think about the flowers and things like that, because now we're talking about springtime and flowers, so you do need the reefer and all of that. Now, dry van did dip a little bit. We know that, but we're getting close to June, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed and praying to God.
We're starting to see it in the southern U.S., though. I can tell you that, yeah, Lowe's does an absolutely a massive amount of dry van freight. And we're seeing that out of our Jacksonville market, where about 60% of that division that we run out of Jacksonville, what we refer to as Division 430, is going to be Lowe's. And they have been robust. So as we talked about last week when we opened up Division 430 for the folks listening in on this, that would be because they're starting to get going here. We're seeing that with Walmart too. So there's some exciting things coming down the pipeline on that end.
So what I want to say, especially during this type of market, and we talk about this a lot. And this is part, in my opinion, as being a professional driver, is part of being bulletproof and enhancing your skills, right? So if you are a driver that consistently just does your regular 53 foot, 48 foot dry van, look into doing reefer. Look into definitely jumping in and saying, let me get trained on reefer. Or my favorite is endorsements. You want to make sure that you are marketable, because you never know when you're going to need them. A professional driver needs all endorsements. Just get them, and you can always be trained on them. Remember that just because you have a hazmat does not mean that you're hauling fuel. You could be hauling something that is not fuel and have a hazmat. So just have that in your head. Also, something else that I wrote down, being flexible. So for an example, we know that we're still in a soft freight market, right? So let's say that your route is to go to Kentucky and your dispatcher is saying you need to go to Tennessee. Please don't call up and throw a whole hissy fit and fall on the floor because you need to go to Tennessee. Think about it. First of all, it's next door. Second of all, it's a soft freight market. Third of all, you are a professional driver, and professional drivers do what? Have to remain flexible. Just like all of us, just like Pierson, just like myself, we have to remain flexible, especially during these times. And if you are an owner, operator, making sure that you are staying on top of your network, building relationships, especially during these times. It's easy to build relationships when everything is coming in and the money is just falling off the trees. But during these times is when building relationships are much more important, because this is when your character is really shown, who you really are and what you're really willing to do for yourself, your driver, and the industry. Something else you wanted to add with that, Pierson?
Sure. We are in a relationship business, and relationships get tested when times are bad. When times are good, everybody seems to be friends. Life is hunky-dory. When times get tough, when times get stressful, if your expertise as a driver is relationships, You will find both for your fleet manager, for your company, for your customers that you ultimately service, life gets considerably easier if, as long as we can remember, and myself included, we're in a relationship business. This industry is not that hard. We can survive and weather the storm.
Absolutely. And even if somebody is having a bad day or you think something is going on, remember to give each other a little grace because you never know. I had to have that conversation with my son today that he saw somebody he just thought that maybe they were being mean or something like that. It literally, you never know what is going on because I use the phrase, what if they in trucking markets? If they in trucking, it's not personal. Okay, their life is ending. That is what's going on. And he was like, okay, I get it. So that's the part right there. So what were you about to say, Pierson?
We got the truck show coming up, or do you want to give the bad news so we can get to the good news?
I want to get some more bad news. I'm a Virgo. The bad news, the good news. You're the good cop, I'm the bad cop. So California, that makes all of these wonderful new rules, and then they want to fall back, and then they want to come up, and they want to fall back. Well, let me tell you what's happening. With the AB5 California rule, I really don't think they're going to be able to get out of this one. And how they really stuck themselves with this particular situation is with talking about the 1099 and being able to reclassify the drivers and all of that. This is going to dramatically change the operation of the trucking industry when it comes to California. Companies are going to have yards over there. Of course, California is hugely big, but just think about it. Who wants to really, and I'm not speaking for any company, any, trucking company, but who is really going to want to expand in California with all of these wonderful rules that they come up with, and now they're trying to fight, even though all of us and all the states are going to have to fight the different AB5 rule, but because California is so gravely different than every other state, they're really having a tough time fighting it. So if you are in California, I mean, this goes across the board for any company, but especially in California, if you are like a business, small business, which are owner operators, if you are a larger one, but especially the smaller ones, making sure that you're staying up on all your legal stuff, being on these online forums, dealing with your advocates, being in the associations, because you do not want to be stuck like not knowing what's going on, because the fines, if you get caught with classifying a driver incorrectly, is terrible. So what that means is if a driver is classified as 1099 and they really should be W-2, those are IRS, and we don't want to mess with those folk. Those are IRS penalties right there. So that is the reason why you want to stay connected to your associations. You want to stay connected to your different online forums, and you want to educate your drivers as well. So as a company driver, don't just take it up and think it is the company that you're working for. You want to educate yourself. That is part of being a professional driver, is educating yourself, because you yourself do not want it to be where you are in limbo either. Anything you want to add, Pierson?
Yeah, California is a tough state to begin with, and traditionally people put up with it because so much freight came from China, would come into the port of Los Angeles, ultimately the Inland Empire, and then make its way out. The challenge right now, and I don't know how much longer California can get away with it. In fact, I think they're already being called on their bluff when you look at the population exodus out of the state of California and the tough business environment. An example of just how tough it is to operate is if you open a Hardee's or a Cane's Wings, or not Wings, but Cane's Chicken here in El Paso, from first permit to taking your first order through the drive-thru is going to take you on average about 92 days. In California, it's going to take you 276 days, plus you're probably going to have to plant native trees in the area to offset your footprint of the building. It is a hard thing to run as a small business or even as a large business. And more of that freight's not coming out of China. It's now coming out of Mexico into the U.S. thanks to NAFTA and some other measures. So what's ending up happening, if you remember when COVID hit, the Port of Los Angeles was packed with freight. I can tell you, if you fly over the Port of Los Angeles or Long Beach now, it's very desolate and very quiet. There's a reason for that. And so timing-wise, I feel bad. Whoever is going to be left in California is going to be the last one holding the bag, unfortunately, because most people are going to move out of the state if they can, if they financially can. And they find it's not the wealthy people that are leaving the state. It's the people that are making approximately $100,000 a year, which in California is middle income. It's not special to have a $100,000 a year job. Those are the people traditionally that are leaving. It's why when you get a U-Haul, if you're moving from Los Angeles to Dallas, that U-Haul costs you about $2,700. If you take a U-Haul from Dallas over to Los Angeles, it costs you about $800 because that's disproportionate. So AB5 is unfortunately not the only measure like that, and there's consequences to it. Everything has an equal or opposite reaction. This is happening right now. There are a lot of pretty good owner-operators, lease purchase drivers that are based in California, or at least were based in California. There's a lot fewer companies on the trucking side that are able to work with those folks right now because they don't know what the future holds. Right. Most businesses, trucking or otherwise, they individually may care if it's a Democrat or Republican or who wins, who loses, but most businesses really don't care. They just want to know, what's the game plan for the next 4 to 8 years? What is it that I need to be prepared for? The challenge with things like AB5 and a number of other measures, in California, it varies so wildly that most businesses can't predict what the next 2, 3, 4 years are going to be. And so you're going to continue to see that mass exodus out of the state. We see it on our end in terms of freight. We pull about 450 to 500 loads a day across the border from Mexico into the U.S. and then into the U.S. markets. That number will only go up. And a lot of that's at the expense of California, not anything that they did on purpose. And so between that, the fuel standards they want out there, the price of fuel to begin with, there are a lot of reasons that you minimize the amount of business you have to do out of California.
Yep, I think they stuck their foot in it.
I would tell any driver, if you have a CDL and you're based in California, I would recommend moving to Texas.
Yeah, great state of Texas. Don't come to Houston. We are closed, but everywhere else. We have too much traffic. I would say DFW is a great option.
Yep. How about the truck show?
Yes, Mass Truck Show is coming up. Are you going?
Yeah, I will be there. Looking forward to it. It's always fun to go out there. March 21st to the 23rd in Louisville, Kentucky. It should be packed. We generally get about 80,000 people a year that attend the event there. There's a ton of festivities, great food. The recruitment center is obviously one of the areas that I tend to hang out the most, but you get to see a lot of great products, future technology. I know Pride and Polish is always the truck championships is always a big deal for a lot of drivers. That this year it's in Lot N in front of the West Wing and South Wing. I think they got Thursday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. both Thursday and Friday. I think Saturday 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Little secret, if you're able to attend Thursday, Friday, the attendance at the Pride and Polish tends to be about half because Saturday tends to be very, very packed. So just FYI, if you've not been to there, it's always fun to go up to there, see if you can't get a load or get into Louisville one way or the other. Hotels may be pricey, so if you drive a truck into the city and you can sleep in the sleeper, you will save yourself a hell of a lot of money.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely sleep in your sleeper or get an Airbnb. Airbnbs are pretty reasonable in Louisville and nice. So
are you going this year?
No, I'm not going this year. I have a funeral in Chicago to attend, but yes, I have Airbnb.
I'll be honest. You want to attend the funeral? I don't know that the excuse of I'm going to Pride and Polish will get you out of the funeral.
Yeah, that wouldn't work for my family. That would not work. But I will be there next year. That's for sure. In an Airbnb. because the hotels do get packed very quickly in Louisville.
I will say though that if you go online and you go ahead and do the administer as an attendee, it's free. If you show up at the door, it's $10. But if you get online and their website's truckingshow.com, literally takes like 5 minutes to register. You end up getting in for free, and there's about 80,000 people there at Freedom Hall in Louisville.
Yeah, and if you're trying to get your steps in, let me tell you, just bring your little smartwatch and get your steps in. But it is really a hoot. You'll have a grand time. So whether you are a truck driver, a recruiter, or just a trucking enthusiast, everything is something for everybody there. You even see people bring their kids. It's awesome. It's really wonderful. Bring your kids and your camera. So definitely take a lot of pictures with the trucks. That's gonna be everywhere. So, and it's really gonna be a good time. I cannot wait to see all of the pictures that are gonna come out. I hate that I'm gonna miss it. That is for sure. But what I want to do is go to commercial, Kayla, whichever one of your choice. And when we come back, we should probably jump into the hot jobs. Why not? Thanks, everybody. Thank you for coming back. Okay, so I just want to let you know that was the commercial for the Rig on Wheels Faces of the Road 2024 calendar. And like Pierson was talking about with the all of, and we'll be talking about later for May when it comes to the international break. Jesus Christ. What is it called, Pierson? Here it is, the International Road Check Week. There we go. But all of the trucking holidays and things like that, or not holidays, but all of the trucking important information is definitely in here. And happy spring starts tomorrow, so that is in here as well. So you will be able to stay on top of everything, not just what everybody else celebrates, but the things that are more important to us in the trucking community, not just logistics or supply chain, but what is important to us.
So, I'll say it's a popular item in my house right now. I have it up in our living room at our house. And my kids, we have a very diverse neighborhood that we live in. And so the kids that come over, my kids have friends constantly coming over, way too many to count. But they like the calendar a lot because if you go through the calendar, it really shows a lot of some of the diversity that's in our industry in particular. And so a lot of the folks, the neighborhood kids, enjoy coming in and kind of looking at the profession a little bit. And I'm always a fan of something that presents our industry in a positive light, which this definitely does. There is no stereotypical driver. I know a lot of people outside of our industry think of Smokey and the Bandit. That driver didn't exist, and it stopped existing about 30 years ago. Truth be told, there's not one set stereotypical driver. And so I know it's one of the things that most of my kids' friends have noticed looking at the calendar. It is a popular item when they come in through the front door.
Absolutely. And we just got fresh ones in. So some new ones in where the back page looks a little different than this back page. So all the lucky ones will be able to have a note page in the back. So that will be definitely a little bit different. So can't wait to get those all shipped out. But that is good. And you're right, it's no stereotypical driver. Everybody is different, and I love it that the kids like it and they're
Oh,
able to
it's
say,
the best. And let me be clear. I think it's the best part of my job or our job is, we get to talk to people from all sorts of walks of life, uh,
yeah,
different religions and backgrounds and race and views, and that is a great thing of our industry. It's why that we need to spread what this industry is about beyond just our four walls here, and talk positively about our industry, be it at schools, organizations, workshops, community centers. Our industry has a lot to offer, and it's not just the typical middle-aged white dude. It is literally, though, here I am, but it's also it's a great entry point. More women are getting into our industry now. More people that are part of minorities in the country are getting into this industry, and we are much better off for it.
yeah. Diversity is great. Diversity is great, all walk of lives, and we are able to sit down, solve problems together, come up with great ideas. That's the really good thing is to be able to come up with great ideas. So love it, love it. And so go right to the rigonwheels.com, click on the Road Store. If you purchase 2 calendars or purchase a calendar and a couple of books, you'll definitely be able to get free shipping. All righty, so let's get down to business, the hot jobs.
Yeah, Kayla, let's go ahead and pull up Division 100 first, and then we'll get into the larger division of Division 10. Division 100 currently have openings in El Paso, Texas. Job pays about $14.50 to $15.50 a week. Ends up making for a nice salary, well above $80,000 for the year. You're out 4 to 6 days. You got to live within 75 miles, though, of El Paso, Texas for this opportunity. Run a lot of freight, like we talked about just in our last segment here. We do a lot of cross-border freight. Once it comes across the border, it distributes its way out into the U.S. Primarily with us, it's heading to the Southern Great Lakes or Midwest states, depending on which way you want to verb that or describe that as. So with that said, Division 100, we have about 5 to 10 openings. If you live out of the El Paso marketplace, you'll see a lot of that cross-border freight going up to the Midwest. Get home every 4 to 6 days. So nice weekly home time there. All the freight that we do is no touch. Vast majority of it's drop and hook. So we get the most out of your time so that you can then get home and enjoy your time at home. And so be sure to look at that opportunity if you live out of El Paso, Texas. And then, Kayla, can we pull up Division 10? With that said, this is one of my favorite divisions, and in particular is this division set up as kind of our flex fleet, meaning you're sent where the freight is hottest. A little less home time, but much more in the way of diversity, and ultimately it's a nice transition into the division you ultimately want to go into. And what I mean by that, we use it a lot of like our minor leagues. So we may have certain divisions that are not open right now, but you start with us on Division 10, and then as you work freight in various divisions, if you find the freight that you like and the division that you like, you're able to transition to it when that freight becomes available. We're very careful not to overhire for any specific division. We want to make sure that we're always one of those companies that if we hire somebody, we have the freight to support them. Division 10 offers opportunities out of Salt Lake City, Tucson, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, El Paso, Las Cruces, Albuquerque, the DFW Metroplex region, Houston, San Antonio, Laredo, Del Rio, Texas, Little Rock, St. Louis, or anywhere in the state for Kentucky and Nashville. You'll find all those markets that we have highlighted with a little red dot on your screen have terminals or drop yards that are secure in your location. So you will always have truck parking available to you, as well as somebody that's going to be able to take care of you when you come in with that unit. Average pay is about $1,200 to $1,500 a week. The miles are there. The home time is great once you get home. And you basically are always pointing the truck in the direction where freight is the busiest. It's the nice thing with that division is most of our people that have been in Division 10 this year have not really experienced the recession in the freight market that a lot of carriers have, because they're always pointed to where the freight's busiest. Now, there's been some markets where we feel like any other carrier, we feel an ebb and flow. One market may be up, one market may be down. The nice thing here is you have the versatility to go where that freight's going to keep you busy. So if Division 10 interests you out of any of those markets, or Division 100 interests you out of the El Paso marketplace, call up Rig on Wheels today. Kameel's got a whole team ready to help you out there at 281-968-3100. That's 281-968-3100.
And you can also go to the website at rigonwheels.com and click on the tab that says driver application and fill out the Intella app. And you just make sure you fill out everything completely. Everything will auto-populate, and there we go.
I would absolutely tell anybody, though, if we didn't include one of the markets that you presently live out of, I'd still give that a call. That's specific just to Mesilla Valley Transportation. The nice folks at Rig on Wheels have a whole bunch of other carriers that they also work with. So the nice thing is, if we're not a fit for you, which unfortunately may be the case, there's a whole bunch of other opportunities. So I wouldn't let that map necessarily dictate if you call in or not. If you have an active CDL and experience, I would definitely give that number a call.
Absolutely, because MVT has other divisions that do have opportunities. These divisions just have more opportunities this week. So let me just say that. So if you are in a different area, or we do have other companies as well, but if you are in a different area, MVT might have something else for you in another area. So make sure you definitely give us a call at 281-968-3100, 281-968-3100. I wanted to say something because today is a great day. TMSA, which is Transportation Marketing Sales, marks our 100th birthday. So I am a member of TMSA, and I have definitely gained a lot of friends, mentors, leaders, and we do a lot of marketing and sales. And I am also proud to be on the DEI Task Force Committee. And today is our 100th year anniversary, or not anniversary, but birthday. So I definitely wanted to say that, and thank you to everybody that has been saying things and putting it on social media. And I just wanted to shout that out on the show today. I almost said podcast, but on the show today. All righty. I think we should go to commercial. Let's go to commercial with the tall human, and then come back and talk about the truck a little bit, and then we'll jump into a few questions.
At Mesilla Valley Transportation, every driver is behind the wheel of a late model International LT, a truck that takes comfort, convenience, and safety to a whole new level. Join us as we explore the impressive features of this powerhouse on wheels. The open road is full of surprises, and sometimes that includes unexpected encounters with wildlife. But worry not, the International LT has you covered. The front end protection guard offers an extra layer of defense, protecting you from animal strikes. Drive with confidence, knowing that you're shielded from the unexpected. We all know how important it is to keep our batteries charged, and our International LTs have your back. The Cummins X15 is equipped with an auto start feature, ensuring that your batteries are automatically recharged when they run low on volts. It's a seamless process that keeps you powered up and ready to hit the road. Disc brakes and an engine brake provide reliable and safe stopping power when you need it most. You can have peace of mind knowing that you're in control. Safety is at the forefront of what we do. Our International LTs are equipped with top-of-the-line safety features to ensure your well-being while out on the road. These tractors are equipped with Bendix fusion protection, collision mitigation, and lane departure warning. Achieving good fuel efficiency deserves recognition. With the International LT, your efforts don't go unnoticed. When you consistently achieve impressive miles per gallon, the International LT rewards you with increased speed. It's a little extra motivation to keep you pushing for better fuel economy. After a long drive, you're ready for a well-deserved break. With the International LT, you can enjoy your rest period in absolute comfort. Thanks to its auxiliary power unit, you can keep the driver's cabin heated or cooled just the way you like it. No matter the weather outside, you'll always find your sweet spot within our International LT. The International LT understands that comfort extends beyond driving. It's a space where you can truly feel at home. I'm a big guy, and I have room to move around in here. With plenty of room to spare, the International LT accommodates even the tallest drivers. And there's ample storage for all your clothes, cooking essentials, and tools, making life on the road even more convenient. Speaking of cooking, bring along your appliances and don't sacrifice any luxuries thanks to all of our international LTs being equipped with built-in inverters. Dry your hair, make a smoothie, or play a game, all from the comfort of your truck. We take pride in our well-maintained fleet. And if by chance you do come across something wrong on your truck, you're never far from help thanks to our valuable relationship with Penske. With more than 750 brick-and-mortar Penske shops nationwide, their expert team is always ready to assist you. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they'll get you taken care of and back on the road in no time. And there you have it. Just a few things about this late model International LT that make MVT the place to be.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, I love that commercial because it really shows you all of the inside of that condo and how big it is and all of the appliances that can be put in there, because first of all, that helps with the drivers, just the lifestyle, right? We always talk about how trucking is not just a job, it's a lifestyle. But the drivers want to be able to have the same lifestyle that, or mimic the same lifestyle that we would have at home. And in that condo, they are able to do that. And that is a condo that sleeps like a team, even if it's a solo, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's very
Okay.
spacious. Stand up sleeper, 71-inch sleeper berth, which is a massive sleeper berth. Joe is not a short guy. He moves around there very effortlessly and easily there. We refer to them as the Blue Beasts. They are a massive piece of equipment, but they're extremely fuel efficient. They're very comfortable, and they have all the latest technology to keep a driver and the freight safe on the road, and ultimately have you be comfortable out there. I literally have watched our drivers sitting in their trucks with a PlayStation, playing on a large TV in the back there comfortably. So it's kind of unique there. But in order for a driver to be successful, you have to have the resources and tools to do the job. We're one of the few companies that I can easily point at every single truck we have on the fleet and say that we do that.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I always say the tall human, because I want that to be in people's head that this truck is very spacious, because that's what the issue is. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. I'm not on the tall side, but for somebody that is an average American height or taller, that's an issue when you're in a truck. That is a grave issue. Most people are not my height. Most people are taller than me. So you want to be able to be comfortable in something that you're going to drive in for 11, 12 hours a day, and then you're going to be sleeping for 10 hours, right?
Yep.
Those are the things. Then you got to cook and you got to do all of the other extra things on the road.
Well, I would also say you want to live healthy on the road. And one of the nice things about that size of the equipment is we work with a company called Rolling Strong. They have a pretty good footprint in our industry. I think most drivers have heard of Rolling Strong at this point. Well, one of the things that comes with that space is your ability to exercise in the truck. Yeah, sometimes you have in nice weather want to get out of the truck to exercise. But if you're in bad winter weather, your ability in the truck to still get up, exercise, move around has real long-term benefits. It cannot be overstated. When I see the poor car haulers, as an example, with a sliced off mid-roof and a tiny little space to sleep at night, there's a certain point where you got to get into the conversation about quality of life. So does it mean that we spend a little bit more on our equipment than others? Possibly. But there's certain areas that I think as a business you have to invest in. And if you can't invest in the drivers on the road that ultimately pay my salary, as an example, there's not much point in doing this.
And I want to point this out to the fleet owners or the other carriers and all of that good stuff. When we talk about retention and stuff like that, your equipment is so important as far as for safety, one, profitability, two, and keeping the driver at your particular company. I am about keeping the driver in the industry. Right? That's my focus. Let's keep the driver in the industry. But I know your focus is keeping the driver at your company. And if the equipment that they're driving around in that literally protects them, they're housed there, all of this stuff is not working, and you don't have a plan B, we're definitely having issues. We're going to have issues when you see these trucks consistently on the side of the road. And we always talk about this: if the wheels ain't turning, they ain't earning. It's just.
Sorry, Kameel. I had the chance to consult for a small fleet owner. He started out with about 40 trucks. He's not in the industry anymore. There's a reason for that. He didn't invest in equipment, which ultimately led to other issues down the road. He started with 40 trucks. He probably paid a little bit more money per truck and started with about 30. He went cheap. And I can tell you his turnover rate was consistently in the triple digits on an annual basis. He thought, and the reason why I was hired on as a consultant was he thought he had a turnover and recruiting issue. He didn't. He had an equipment issue. If you want drivers, if you want good drivers, if you want drivers to stay, you're going to need to invest money in equipment. I don't care if you have 2,000 trucks or if you have 5 trucks. If you want a driver to stay, the driver on the phone may talk to you about rate per mile, type of freight, running lanes. But if they get to orientation and you stick them in a bad truck, most drivers are patient and they'll complain and give you the chance to fix it. But if you don't invest in your equipment in the long run, they don't have a reason to stay. And I'd also argue that if the truck's constantly broke down, that rate per mile doesn't matter because they don't get the miles.
Yeah. And those are the things that we hear the most. I mean, don't get me wrong. We do talk to drivers that talk about pay. But when we really get to probing and asking questions, the issue is generally equipment. That is what the issue is. That is really what the issue is. Because right now, a lot of companies are across the board paying very similar. Like Pierson has pointed out before, if you get on the phone with the recruiter and they're telling you this particular company is killing it, they're lying. They're lying like a Persian rug, right? So, with that being stated, equipment, literally investing in those type of deals is what keeps your driver. Think about it. Like, literally, this is not only what they're using to make money, but it's what they're using to live in X amount of days on the road. So we want that. Also, because this industry is no longer wanting or needing steering wheel holders. We are no longer needing drivers. We are demanding professional drivers. Professional drivers deserve professional equipment. That is period. There's really nothing else that needs to go after that statement.
Look, I'll point out, if I walked into my office and I showed up for my first day of work and I see a typewriter, I'm going to be concerned. This is probably a bad thing. Same thing's true for a driver. When a driver shows up to orientation and instead of a nice MacBook or a computer with 3 screens, you go, hey, I have a 5-year-old truck. It's had some maintenance issues here, but good luck to you. That driver's not staying.
Yeah, no. They put a lot of miles on the truck, so those things are grave issues, definitely. So what we want to do, Kayla, if you can show the commercial with a very handsome guy that won the truck a while ago, and then we want to come back and talk about the diesel fuel bonus with the winning the car and all that. Not won the truck. I got ahead of myself. Eventually, MVT is going to do that, but
we're not giving
that ain't what we do. We're winning cars, okay? We're winning cars. So if you can throw the commercial on, Kayla, with the handsome gentleman, that'll be great.
Mi nombre es Carlos Vázquez. Tengo trabajando 3 años aproximadamente y somos B1 y andamos en territorio de Estados Unidos. Lo que me gusta de MVT es que tiene buenos viajes, buenos camiones y muy buenas millas. Mi comunicación con los despachos es muy buena y todo eso, y siempre a la orden del día. ¿Qué pienso del equipo de los camiones? Pues que están muy bien y les dan sus mantenimientos, sus PO y todo lo demás, alineación y balanceo, todo, cambio de llantas y excelente servicio. La compañía cada trimestre regala un auto para los operadores. Me motiva pues a crecer más como persona y pues, para dar el 100, como dicen, para la compañía.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. This is, I always say a lot of segments are my favorite segment, but this is kind of my favorite segment because I like how we're going to talk about the leaderboard that's up on the wall. So, and then Pierson actually sent me a picture of the leaderboard. So I was so excited. But take it away, Pierson.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the ways that we differentiate ourselves, among many other ways that we differentiate ourselves from our competitors, is we really focus on fuel economy. Fuel economy, fuel economy, fuel economy. There's a lot of ways that we do that, but the number one factor is driver behavioral trends on the road. It's how the speed that you go at. It's using the wind to your advantage. It's understanding the harm that comes from hard braking or constantly coming on and off the road. And about 20 other things that contribute to MPG. So what we do is we reward our drivers, though, that take care of us with the best fuel economy. How we do that is we have an active leaderboard. Over the course of a quarter, it is extremely competitive between our drivers that want to show they're the best at what they do. We hire professionals here at MVT. So with that said, right now the leader is averaging about 12.6 miles a gallon so far this quarter. Every quarter, whoever wins that, we give them a brand new car, either 2022 or 2023 Nissan Sonata. Have one waiting to go at our next driver appreciation event that we hold every single quarter. It is extremely competitive, but the driver is not alone in that battle. Between our driver services department, our fleet manager, and a number of other personnel, we work with the driver to improve on what they do on the road so that they can be successful and ultimately win the car. If you want to see what one of our fleet managers at the terminal will generally brag about, normally one of my drivers got the car last quarter. So that's one of the things that we do that's a little bit different. On top of that, though, let's say you don't win it for the quarter, but you're just consistent, and over the course of the year, you get the best fuel economy. We give that individual $25,000. That makes a big difference. Our leader in that category would be a gentleman named Robert Sandoval. Robert's been with us about 15, 20 years at this point. Robert's won it 5 different times, so he basically made himself an extra $125,000. Like we talked about earlier, it comes from all walks of life. So sometimes the quarterly winner is somebody that's been with us 20 years and knows their division inside and out. Other time, it could be like the team that we had that when they won it, they'd been in our industry a total of 9 months. Literally started their career with MVT. 3rd quarter in with us, they're winning the car. In that case, there's 2 people, so we split the cash value of it. But it doesn't matter if you come in ready to be adaptable, flexible, and get really proficient at what you do on the road. That car or the $25,000 is definitely available to you, and it definitely separates us amongst the best drivers in the industry.
And Robert is leading it now, and I'm willing to bet he has a whole formula.
Oh, he does, and I can tell you,
That's
Robert has referred over the course of his career. He's referred about 12 drivers to MVT. And at this point, a couple of his referred drivers have now won the quarterly prize.
Wow.
So he is now teaching it on to the next generation. So it's one of the things, too, that we talk about career development here. It's not just you. We have people that start out with a division and they become trainers for the next generation of drivers, which is about $120,000 to $150,000 a year job. Not for everybody, but it's definitely part of that career development path. And Robert, at this point, I think it means more to him when one of his referred drivers get the car than it does when he does it actually himself.
I love it. That's what we need to get on here. I want to pick his brain. We need your form.
Yeah, good guy. And he, a lot of what we've implemented in our driver services department as far as career development, him, along with a number of other professionals, have been integral in laying out some of those plans.
I'm like, I want to say, I need your autograph because this is crazy. When I saw the leaderboard and his name was on the top, I'm like, this is insane. I love it. I get excited about things like that. I don't know about you all, but
me too.
Kayla just reminded me. I get to talking so much, and I don't want the show to end again. And we haven't she hasn't asked these questions, and they have been coming through. And we got live questions and some questions that was text that I sent her. So let's light them up or whatever. Kayla.
All right. My first question is, hello, do you have any recruiter positions available now?
Is this for Kameel or for me?
It did not specify.
Well, I'll take it. And Pierson can take it too. Okay. So with us, we have some agency positions available where you'll definitely be able to come in as 1099 and come in under Rig on Wheels and recruit that way. So you can text us at 281-968-3100, or you can send us an email at recruiting@rigonwheels.com.
I presently do not have openings for MVT recruiters at this moment. I am fully staffed. With that said, I would tell anybody that it's a fun line of work to get into. If you are empathetic and you care about the driver, if you are not necessarily worried about having a notch on the nightstand, but really more concerned about setting somebody up for career success in the long run, it is an exciting endeavor where you have a direct positive impact on people's lives. I can tell you in my career, I've overseen the hiring coming up on about 28,000 individuals. And I take a lot of pride in that fact that I've been able to essentially positively impact that many individuals over my career. There's very few lines of work that you can do that with. So it is a worthwhile career path to look in. And in the world of transportation, you get to work with drivers, and generally you get to be the bearer of good news when you say you're hired.
Yeah. And of course, I like it. I've been here now 14 years, so I definitely can piggyback off what Pierson said. He's been here a lot longer, but yes.
Well, not a lot longer. I mean,
I was aging you a lot longer, lot longer. Next question. That was a good question. Like that.
Next question I have is there a minimum guaranteed mileage or pay?
No, because the nice thing with us, we don't really have to get into that ebb and flow because you're running set patterns. So as an example of that Division 100, as an example, you're literally going point A, point B, point C, back to A. When you do that, literally each run, each loop dictates what you'd make on that. So when I say, as an example, on Division 300, which is one of the divisions that we have, that you're going to average $1,500 a week, literally 95% of the drivers on that division will be in that $100 of that range because they're running the same pattern over and over again. It adds to a consistent schedule, consistent pay. The only thing that will create some variety in pay structure is if a driver takes extended leave off, which happens from time to time. But we don't really get into that ebb and flow of that conversation because the set pay is the set pay. You're running that same pattern over and over again. It's what we refer to as engineered lanes. It's what makes it better than a lot of the dedicated lanes that are out there. So as an example, if you're on a dedicated lane and let's say you show up to orientation, you get on the road and a week into it, you go, I hate this customer. They don't like the drivers. The freight's not very good. We spend all our time waiting. You're stuck. That's the job. That's the dedicated opportunity. Or on the flip side with us, each division is made up of a multitude of customers. So we're fortunate. We have customers, decades-long relationship that we don't keep customers around even in this environment that don't offer driver-friendly freight. The other part of that equation, though, is let's say you just don't like going to one specific customer. They're probably one of 18. You're going to see them 1 out of 18 loads. So you get a lot more variety in that. You keep the same running lanes, majority drop and hook. But if you interact with customers, you get some variety in that as well. So there's a little more flexibility than you'll find with the jobs that are described as dedicated.
Yeah, that's what I like about MVT's loop is exactly what you just said. That's awesome. That was another really good question. Drivers ask that all the time. And that is,
Yep.
what's the difference between a dedicated account and a dedicated lane?
Awesome. My last question is about the Blue Beast. How old is the fleet, and what is the maintenance schedule like?
Yeah. Oldest units are 2020. We are upgrading right now. Starting in May, we'll have about 700 new trucks coming out of the fleet as we get rid of 700 of the older ones. The average age of the truck is about 1.6 years old at this moment. So it's a relatively young fleet, which is more like an OTR company would have than a regional carrier. So we have a very young fleet. We work close with Penske. Penske helps us with that maintenance end of the equation. They are stewards of maintenance. They stay on top of it. If a PM's coming up, they'll work with you on that. If we have a unit, an APU unit, or we have some kind of general maintenance, they get it into the shop so that it can be worked on. And it's the other benefit of those loops. So if you start in point A and you move here, you're going to come back to that terminal to where the truck can get worked on while you're sitting at home, ideally. So you're not actually having to sit there and wait for them to get that taken care of. The other part of that equation that's unique about it is because of our running lanes, though. Let's say you are on a lane that's going from Dallas to Denver and you leave Dallas and some kind of unexpected maintenance issue comes up. Penske has multiple stops in that route that go up to Denver. So you may be stopping in Amarillo. God forbid, let's say it's a big issue with the truck. Even a brand new truck has big issues that come up from time to time. We have a relationship that they will loan us a truck so that you can continue your loop. And when you come by, that truck is waiting for you to get back into it. So it's a young fleet, well-maintained fleet. And we have options B, C, and D when something does not go according to plan.
That's really good. That's really good, in fact.
Very unique.
Well, yeah. So what I want to do is this concludes our Tuesday, but we will be back next Tuesday, which is the last Tuesday of March. This year is going by fast. The next thing you know, it's going to be Christmas. It's going to be back cold again. I'm going to be back complaining about the cold weather, blah, blah, blah.
So in about 9 months, I'm going to pest you for a new calendar.
Yes. We'll be talking about the calendar all over again. We'll be getting all of the great dates again and everything, and coming up with even more great ideas for it. So any feedback that you all have, that brings me to another thing, and especially you, Pierson, and your wife and kids, because they have a different view that they're looking at it because they're outside of the industry. So that'll be good. So any feedback about the calendar, that'll be great for it. But next week is our last Tuesday of March. I cannot believe it. The first quarter is gone. I'm ready for June. But either way, we will see you next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And like always, we want you guys to be safe. I know weather is different all over the United States. So definitely be safe out there and eat well, eat good. What else did you want to say, Pierson?
Hope to see you at the truck show in Louisville. If you don't make it this year, come next year. I will definitely be on the floor. I would wear this shirt, but I think I need to wear MVT on the floor of the truck show.
You definitely need to.
I probably should. But with that said, hope to see folks at the truck show. I always like meeting folks face to face.
Yes, definitely. Everybody be blessed, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.